Welcome back to another episode on the Gold Room. Thanks for tuning in. Today, lucky enough to have Tim Taylor from Cross Boundary Energy. Tim, thank you very much for joining me, mate.
Thank you very much, Josh. It's really good to be here. I think I had a look at your prior sort of list of coming in here, and I think you're trying to dumb down a bit.
Oh, not with you, mate. Not with you. We've had some awesome guests, and the guests that we do have coming in the future, much like yourself, are exceptional.
Fantastic.
Bloody ripper. I'm looking forward to this one. Mate, as you know, we start with the life and the times, so give us the rundown, life of the times of Tim Taylor.
Yeah, sure, glad to. I don't usually
Tim
talk...
Taylor, mate. Was that like the home improvement dude?
It was. Look, I changed schools. I went to a school called Melbourne High.
Yeah.
But that only starts at year 9. So I went to school as a young kid, just going to a brand new school with a whole new set of people. And it was just about the time home improvement became really popular. So for the entirety of my high school career, or high school time, teachers, everyone at the school, students, knew me as the tool man.
Awesome, bro.
So no, I don't think many of the people, the wider people, actually knew my name.
What was the guy across the fence that used to, was it Walter?
Wilson.
Wilson, yeah, that's it.
Yeah. My brother-in-law had his 30th party a few years ago, and we went as I went as the tool man, and my wife Fran went as Wilson. So she had a big fence. It was quite cool.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Do you have photos of it? You got some photos of that? See if you can find them. Yeah, send them through, and we'll throw them in, bro. That'll be awesome, bro. Thank you.
Yeah, cool.
So
I grew up in Melbourne.
Yep.
I had a really good childhood. Really supportive parents. Older brother,
your
younger
parents.
sister.
What's the heritage there, mate? Italian, Greek.
No, I thought this was coming.
Did you?
Yeah. No, believe it or not, I was born here. My great grandparents on both sides came from England, and look, for some reason I hit puberty, and I got this dark hair. I grew these big caterpillar eyebrows, and I've got this really olive skin, which apparently people love, like my mum.
Yeah.
But yeah, my mum's blonde, pasty white. My brother looks at the sun and gets sunburned.
Wow.
So I'm just this odd duck. But it sort of fits in well. My wife is Italian, or she's Italian, born in Australia, but her parents were born in Italy. But I sort of fit really well into the Fremantle Italian community.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, cheers. Yeah, so I grew up in Melbourne, really supportive family, just a middle-class family. Went to the local high school for a couple of years. I was really involved in footy. AFL is still my number one sport. Played footy all my career.
Who's your team?
I'm a Carlton man. But I like to say, this is how I say it, I'm a Carlton man in the blood. I was born in Carlton. Yep. But my
Carlton crew.
I have a nothing to do with them. I've had a Fremantle membership for 16 years.
It's all right, mate.
16 long years.
Yeah, very long years.
Yeah. So it's played footy, and I've got still to this day my core group of mates. We're still very good friends. So we played footy all the way through. We hung out on Saturday nights and just had a really good childhood.
Awesome.
Then took it out of uni, studied my Bachelor of Business at La Trobe Uni in Bundoora there. I bought a house. I got married in Melbourne when I was quite young.
Yep.
And really enjoyed my sort of younger years. I just had a great time over there. And look, Melbourne to me was just Melbourne. It wasn't like it was home. It wasn't like I need to be anywhere, or it's just home. Yeah. And I took a job soon after uni at an oil company. And a couple of years in, they said, "Tim, what do you think about Perth?" And I said, "Oh, look, I've never been there, but I'd always wanted to come to Perth, spend a week in Perth, and spend a week up in Broome, just on a holiday, like sightseeing, seeing what the place is like." And the boss said, "We want you to move over there." And I said, "Oh."
You'd have a quite close-knit family too, wouldn't you?
Yeah, really close family, but also the friendship group were really tight. Yep. So weekends were just great. Family was great. It was just it was just what life was. It was nothing different.
So you obviously moved. What went through your mind when you decided to move? That would have been a lot to take on.
Yeah, well, I had just really got married only 8 months before that. So I said to the wife, I said, "Look, we've got this opportunity to move to Perth." what do you think? And I thought she was going to cull it straight away, and she said, let's do it.
What?
Yeah, so we came on a recce for a weekend, stayed at the Esplanade down at Freo, which was pretty cool. Yep. And I thought, this place is great. Let's do it. So, yeah, we moved over the following January.
How about the change in weather, mate? Because Melbourne's got weather very similar to New Zealand. It's cloudy, it's overcast, it can be hot, but it's rainy.
When it's your home, that's what it is. That's all you know. But over here, it's just amazing.
9 months of the year of sun.
Yeah,
blue skies.
Even this year, it's only a matter of weeks ago, literally a couple of weeks for winter, that the temperature dropped. I mean, we've had probably 25 degrees in most of May. Yeah. It's been amazing. Yeah, so Melbourne, I left Melbourne and I was meant to be over here, on a sort of a loose 3-year contract or timeline. And the first year I really struggled with it. Struggled because I missed home.
Missed the mates.
Yeah, so not much missed home, but I missed the camaraderie of mates, and it's a strong thing when you got it and you don't have it, you really miss it. And so I joined a footy club. I might have joined the Dockers because I couldn't join the other one. And so I made some friends quite early on there. I joined a gym because I love training, and I joined a gym and straight away and made some friends through there. And look, the friendship group just started to grow. And
you seem like the type of bloke that wouldn't have trouble getting a mate anywhere.
Look, the right mates, maybe, yeah. So yeah, look, I slowly started to like it. Yeah. So the second year I started to really enjoy it, and plus the job I was here to do, it was going really well. So I was tasked with setting up the industrial division of the oil company that I work for.
Who was the oil company?
It was called AUKUS Lubricants.
Oh yeah, okay, I know them.
Okay. Yeah. So I worked with AUKUS. I was over here. I worked in Melbourne for AUKUS for I think 18 months, or just shy of 18 months before they said, look, Tim, we want you to set up the division in WA. So moved over here, and I think I worked for another 12 or so months for AUKUS over here. And probably maybe about a year and a half, 2 years into my time here, the boss called up and said, Tim, it's time to come home. We want you back here. And I was sitting at my desk at the time and looked outside, and it was a beautiful sunny day. It was like 30-odd degrees. And I said, mate, it's just not time for me. So that was it. I think they got it that I wasn't coming back.
Wow. So they let you stay here with the company, or did you have to start looking at something else?
They did, but I think about 6 months later, BP came knocking, and they said, Tim, come work for us. So I think
how do you turn that down?
You don't.
No, you don't.
No, I didn't. So yeah, that was I spent 10 years here with BP, and it was a lot of that time was a really good time to be involved in both be involved with BP, but be involved in the oil and gas industry here in WA.
Wow.
It was just a ripper time when oil was over $100 a barrel. So yeah, that was my first few years in Perth. And look, my wife, my former wife, and myself, we split about 12 years ago. We're still friends.
Yep.
We've got we'll get with the children. We had a child together, and we're very good with her in terms of the split. But yeah, about 10 years ago, I met a new girl. Met her through the gym. I was training at the time.
Yep.
And
good wholesome relationship before the days of online dating.
Yeah, well, Tinder wasn't around back then.
Uh-huh.
No. And I'm sort of showing my age, aren't I?
Oh.
But I met her at gym, and then we were friends for a long time, and then it just sort of turned into something more than friends, and we got married. We were together for a long time, but we got married in America a couple of years ago.
Wow, congratulations, mate. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, cheers.
Beautiful little romance.
Yeah, but yeah, it was good. Just the four of us, me and my two daughters.
Yep, cool.
And our two daughters, and so it was a bit of a surprise. Well, not a surprise to us, but it was a surprise wedding. We just got married in Hawaii.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Far out.
Yeah. So yeah, my time here has been amazing. Like I love it. I mean, it's a great place to like we live here for a reason, and some here for work, some here because this is all you know.
Yep.
But I just love the place. It's just.
Yeah, I love it too, mate. Everyone gets sick of hearing me talk about how much I love WA. Not too keen on New Zealand, but Australia, far out. It's the land of opportunity.
Yeah,
it's
it
absolutely
sure
amazing.
If you want to work for it, there's opportunities aplenty.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, my time here has been great. It's been really good.
Man, I want to get into. So you've got a family business right? That is just worlds apart from, even though we're here to talk about mining and we'll get there, we've got a few cool things to talk about. Yeah. But go into your little family, well, I thought it was little, but it's not, is it?
No, it's not. Well, it started as a little hobby.
Yeah.
My wife, she was walking my daughter to school when she was on maternity leave with our young one. And my daughter asked for an orange hair bow. She had an orange and black uniform. Yep. The kids went, or one of them still does, go to Bateman Primary. And my Fran said, yeah, I can make that for you. So long story short, the school said, put these in our uniform store. So we did. Well, Fran did. And then I said, look, why don't you test this? Why don't you go across the street to All Saints and see what they think? So they said, yeah, put it up there. Put it on the wall. They had our competitor was there too. So what we knew then was going to be our competitor. So they gave us one wall. They gave the competitor the other wall, and we thought, let's do this. So yeah, she got the business all set up, and yeah, she runs the business. But just over a year ago, we acquired our competitor.
Oh, congratulations! Well done.
Yeah, thank you. So they're called Pretty Design Company, and they're like the market. They are the market leader in our industry. They've been around for 25 years, like the Coca-Cola of our industry.
Yep.
And but the founder and owner of that company just decided that she had enough. She wanted to spend more time travelling, spending more time with her older daughters. And she wanted to find someone semi-like herself to keep it going. And
how many schools are you in?
Combined between the semi-merged company, we've got probably about 80% of all the private schools in the country.
In the country? Yeah. So it's not just bloody WA?
No, it's turned into quite a beast.
It's not a little business, Tim. That's a nice bloody business.
It's actually
awesome.
And something from nothing. It grew from, which wasn't even a hobby. It was a little demand from my daughter.
Yeah. Any plans to get these products into any other industries?
Yeah, we're sort of tailoring the Mad About Bows side to a retail side, not just retail, but more retail. So we're into a lot of pharmacies now. We've signed up another big contract, which we'll announce soon. But the retail side is going really well as well. People just love hair accessories. We've got about a core product list of maybe about 18 or 20 products. When we're talking SKUs, the list expands because we've got a lot of colour combinations. Yep. Yeah, we've got two offices, two warehouses, the office warehouse, one in Gladesville in Sydney, and one over here which is the head office in Myree. We've got about 14 staff now.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's...
you thought about doing like a blue and orange fluoro or a blue and yellow fluoro?
It's actually, you just read my mind. Yeah, we've...
I don't want to give away any secrets.
Yeah,
you don't have to...
No. We've started to do it. We've got we've got a range of high vis scrunchies.
Oh, mate, nice work.
Yeah, and we're working with a couple of mining companies now. We did quite a bit of work for Tronox last year, and look, it's about where you can put most of your time. Look, I'm not involved in the business on a day-to-day basis. I help out on sort of largest things and when she needs a helping hand, but I've got a pretty busy plate myself. So
you sure do.
And so your Fran just runs it, and I'm pretty proud of her. She's gone from she's not an introvert, but she's never had to be in a customer-facing role. So yeah, she's just she runs a business for us.
Yeah. Wow, awesome. Tim, let's get into cross-boundary energy, or if you prefer, from oil and gas into mining, and then what was your shift into cross-boundary energy? Give me a little rundown on that, mate.
Yeah, for me it was a good little story. I spent many bulk of my career actually in oil and gas, and I really enjoyed it. Like I had a great network in oil and gas. I knew the business. I knew all about drilling. I knew all about processing of oil and gas, and as I should, it was my career. Towards the end of my time at BP, it was probably time to get out. But just fortuitously, a former colleague of mine worked at an IPP, a power generation company, and he said, "Tim, it's time to come across to mining, and you can sell some power." So yeah, I had to think about it. I thought, look, it's time for me to leave BP anyway, and look, something new would be good or could be good. So I joined the power gen company, and with basically a zero base position. I didn't know anyone. I didn't have a network. I came from the oil and gas world with a fantastic network after 13 or 14 years in that industry, and come to mining, I didn't know a soul. And I'd always heard that the jump to oil and gas or to mining or from mining to oil and gas is a big step. I think in a BD sales sort of position, the skills are really transferable. So I sort of took my own words at that and jumped straight into it. And I did a few things. I asked a friend of mine who had been in the industry, like, what do I do? Where do I meet people? And he said, Tim, just join the mining club. I said, the mining club? He said, WA Mining Club, just join it.
Awesome.
Nothing else you should do. Yeah, so nearly 7 years ago, I joined the WA Mining Club. And that pretty much kickstart my sort of network here in the industry.
I want to take you back to cross-boundary energy. How did you get involved there?
Yeah, I joined Cross Boundary nearly a year ago, so I'm still quite fresh within the company.
Yep.
So I joined Cross Boundary. I took a package from my old company. They'd grown to a sort of a tier 1 level, and they got very busy. And look, it was time for a change for me as well. I'd been there for I think nearly 5 years, so it was a time to do something different. What I thought something different or something new, and I was called up by Cross Boundary, and they said, Tim, like, we've got a position here, and
a lot of shoulder tapping in your life, right? That's awesome, mate. That speaks volumes about a person.
I think, it could do, but I think it's the right place, right time as well.
For sure.
So yeah, I had a chat with these guys, and I didn't think much of them. I hadn't heard too much of Cross Boundary. I mean, they're based in Africa, headquartered in Nairobi in Kenya, and didn't know too much about them. But I sat down with a couple of guys, and it just really changed my view of them, and I made the quick choice to jump across there.
Had you thought much about the renewables before getting involved with them, or is it something that you've grabbed a hold of since?
Oh no, not really. In the IPP world, so we're an independent power producer, like my former company.
Yep.
And look, whether you're into renewables or not, whether you believe in the whole story of renewables or not, in the remote world, and what we do, we build power stations on mine sites, so it's all remote, where there's no power. So we always put down a thermal base load. So the base load comes first, and it's typically thermal, and we've got a really good network, a gas network here in WA. I mean, most of WA we can reach with gas, like trucked LNG. So we put down the base load, and then we supplement it with renewables. So, but renewables in our industry absolutely work. Yep. They absolutely work. They make energy somewhat cheaper. The cost of energy somewhat cheaper. I mean, not significantly, but what we're doing, we're basically replacing or displacing the fuel that would be used in that power station otherwise. And look, 80% of the cost of energy that we produce comes from the fuel.
Yep.
Or up to 80%. So it's if we can reduce the amount of fuel by using renewables at a cost neutral or a better position, it's a no-brainer in my world.
How do you see renewables fitting into the mining industry here in WA in the future?
Pretty much what we're doing now. I mean, look, you're looking back, say, even maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and it's not that long. My youngest daughter's 8 now. Like, she was a young kid, a younger kid back then. But so in the timeline, life is short, but there was no renewables, like very little. Like, I remember the very first project that I worked on, the team referred to it as a token amount of PV, solar, a token level of PV. There's nothing token about it now. It's the norm, and it's not the norm because there's a wider green push to put renewables on site. It just makes absolute sense.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't have this question down, but what do you think of the push for nuclear?
I'm absolutely pro-nuclear.
Absolutely the same.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, I'm a little bit active on LinkedIn, and anything nuclear I follow. And look, taking the politics out of it. And I think we should take the politics out of a lot of things, to be honest. But nuclear absolutely makes sense. And if we want to move away from coal, and we're moving away from coal, there's a mandate to move away from coal. The only two logical, or the only two options available would be gas.
Yep.
And nuclear.
Yeah, I actually recently signed up with the WA Mining Club, and so many people had said to me, Josh, you need to get along to the WA Mining Club, you need to go. And I was just like, I've always just been too busy. And then when I saw that Jazz Diab was speaking, I thought, I'm going to go along and support that exceptional woman. You know, so she's
is fantastic.
Fantastic.
I've always been a bit of a fanboy.
Yeah,
she's just so knowledgeable, but she can present, and all her arguments are clear, concise.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, she's a gem.
And then you got those the politicians that wanted to use it all just as a political agenda. Piss me off. Piss a lot of people off.
Sure does, especially when look, we all know that we want to go to close to net zero. There's no waste. The nuclear waste that comes out of a nuclear is minuscule.
Yeah,
and we can do stuff with it. It's a no-brainer.
What do you think are the biggest pushbacks from mining companies in regards to renewables on site?
To be honest, large scale. There's not too much of a pushback. I mean, a lot of mining companies, whether they need to do it, they need to tick the box, or they've got shareholders, like institutional shareholders, that sort of are demanding sort of renewables.
Why would they be demanding renewables? Explain that to me. I've got no bloody idea.
I think just the way the world's going, there's a big push to go net zero.
And even at the cost of an installation which might not pay back. Is there tax credits involved? How does that work?
There's the safeguard mechanism is there, but I mean, in terms of power, there's a lot of emissions from from a mining operation comes from power. So probably one of the first things you look at, can we decarbonise the power? And that's what we're doing. We're working towards doing it, I should say.
Yep.
But yeah, there's always, like I said, it absolutely makes sense. I mean, putting renewables, mass-scale renewables in the middle of the country, I don't think makes a lot of financial sense, and it's just going to make our power more expensive, as we're seeing. But the correct level of renewables on a mine site, whether it be PV and a BESS and or wind, just absolutely makes sense.
Mm. The WA mining industry, which you know a hell of a lot about, what do you think that we are doing well, and what do you think that we're not doing so well that we could probably be pushing in more of a correct direction?
Yeah, I can talk from a macro level because I'm not an engineer, I'm not a subject matter expert, but I think we're doing a lot of things right. I mean, we're doing a lot of things right in a lot of areas. I mean, health and safety is improved out of sight. I mean, you and I were talking a bit about that before, and there's a lot of awareness on all sort of health sort of areas in
psychosocial,
mining.
The new buzzword, if you will. But
true, and look, we need to, like any industry, we need to look after our workers. And when you think about FIFA workers, we're away. Well, they're not me because I'm based here in Perth, but they're away from home, away from the families, away from the kids, away from.
Can be difficult.
Yeah, I think it can be difficult for a lot of people. But look, we're doing a lot of things right. We're doing a lot of things right within mining companies. We're doing a lot of things right in terms of what we're mining and how we're mining. I mean, look, technology is improving.
We could be mining a lot more uranium in WA. That's for you, Jonathan.
Yeah, Jonathan Fish is a I know the guy well, and he's a great
advocate,
100% for the nuclear industry. But look, my view on nuclear. Look, I think you should be able to differentiate between the two, nuclear power and uranium mining. And uranium mining, we can dig this stuff up and process it, and we can send it to our allies.
Yeah.
Send
it offshore.
And we got a fair bit of it. It's royalties for the state. It's employment for the state. It's tax for the country. I mean, it benefits everyone. The more we can get out and diversify our commodity portfolio, the better.
Yeah.
But what really gets me, the federal, so the state government lobbying the federal government to have the AUKUS sub-program based down here at Garden City. So you want your nuclear industry here, but you don't want it. I mean, you can't have it both ways.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, look, Mark Schneider, amazing man. Have you seen his episode?
No.
Go back and watch it because it's stellar. So 20 years in the US Navy, and he's a nuclear engineer, super smart, calls himself a self-proclaimed super nerd. It's a stepping stone. AUKUS is a stepping stone for nuclear energy. While you say, I know, can't have one, or they want to have one without the other, but eventually it'll happen. So they've got nuclear.
There's no doubt it's going to happen at some stage in the future. I like to think it's going to happen sooner rather than later because we need, look, I'm a big advocate for the mining industry, especially in WA, but in Australia overall. But I think we just need extra mining here.
Are we hamstrung by, I always say no politics, no religion, and no bad quarterly reports. But do you think we're hamstrung sometimes, or are we hamstrung by some state level government departments, or even over east, Canberra? Are they holding up the mining, do you think?
Look, I think it's getting better. And look, the last federal election, I think the two best things that came out of it, if I can be political here, I think number one, there's a lot less Greens in Parliament now.
Yep.
And two, Tanya Plibersek was demoted, and now we've got a new mining minister. And I think within 30 days, they had a decision. They had a decision on the extension of the North West Shelf.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what happened up at McPhillamys for Regis.
They'll get that now, won't they? Well, maybe.
Look, I'm not over it, but I know there's a court case due in December. Yep. I'm hoping that doesn't have to happen. I think common sense in all forms of life needs to take priority. Yep. And common sense would be to get that project up and going.
For sure.
Yeah, I know Regis has been like a lot of money on that project to this date, and to have it kiboshed at the last minute.
Yeah. Bit unfair.
Crazy.
Once again, political agenda?
100% political. And we should just take that out of it. We had Jim Beyer at the Mining Club luncheon last year, and it was a very good time to have him. But he just made absolute sense.
In regards to mining leases and documentation that needs to be filed, is there any difference from mining companies? Is there any difference between what happens over east and what happens over here? You'd think over here in WA we understand and we know mining. Is the state government doing enough to push everything, the documentation through within a certain time frame, as opposed to what happens over east? I don't know. You'd be the full bottle on it, wouldn't you?
If you're referring to permitting on sort of for drilling, for mining processing, for development. I don't. I think that. Well, I think it's granted. We need to do better. I mean, we need to streamline the process greatly. Look, was it 2 weeks ago? AMEC made a release sent a release out on the Friday saying that the WA government are now reassessing or going to reassess the cultural heritage process. And look, that absolutely needs to happen. I think there is a system there. And look, I'm not an expert on this, and look, I talk to a lot of people, and I think it seems to be the biggest subject that we talk about in terms of red tape. Yeah. But I think that now
is that between the TOs and the mining companies?
Yeah, yep, exactly. And I think more of an issue of is there enough people out there doing what needs to be done and assisting the people that need to do the work. But I did hear that the Queensland government have a very good system. They need to.
What do they do?
I think my understanding is once an application is received, they've got the TOs or the party involved has 20 days to respond.
Okay.
And then they've got an additional 20 days to do the work.
Okay.
And along with that, there's set guidelines on costs.
What do we do here?
There's no timing, so there's no sort of time limits or sort of guidelines on times that need to be met. So you could be waiting 6 months to get an approval to put a drill pad down.
How are we meant to keep the country running? How are we meant to keep the country afloat if
we can't?
If there's just no.
Yeah, and look, when you're talking about and I talk to a lot of juniors and sort of mid tiers as well, and when you talk to these guys, they're running on the last cap raise, so there's not a infinite amount of money to be spent. I mean, it's critical that these projects get moving. Right,
mate. WA Mining Club. Let's rip into that. How'd you get involved?
Yeah, cool.
Passion project
like I said,
for you, right?
6 or 7 years ago, when I joined the mining industry, I didn't know a soul. And it was a little bit disconcerting. And I said to my mate, what do I do? And joined the mining club. And from that day, I met some really good people. And I've continued to meet some really good people. And it's done a really good thing for my career. And again, I put in to the mining club. I attended events and I did the right thing did the right thing for me. And I sort of grew a very good network out of it. And again, from that network, I've said this many times, but my network then spider-worked out of that network and then spider-worked again out of that network. So, but the base of my network here in WA started with the mining club. And I thought they held a fantastic events, and I really enjoyed my time there. And a couple of years in, I decided to be nominated for the committee. I thought, look, this club has done amazing things for me, and I feel like I need to give back. And that's what I did. I missed out the first year. So I kept on going and kept on doing what I needed to do. And the next year I was nominated again, and I got on.
Awesome.
So I've been on the committee of the mining club I've just started my third year now. I was elected last year back on a third year term when we brought 3-year terms into the committee. Yeah, we just had an AGM last luncheon, which was in end of May, and we had our committee meeting just recently, and yeah, there's been a few changes in the committee. But I lead the memberships subcommittee, so I'm out there talking to new members and really trying to promote the club wherever I go. Yep. And I think the club does amazing things. I know amazing things for the WA mining industry. So I'm really a good advocate for the club and for the mining industry as a whole.
Yeah, when I signed up recently, I got an email. Is it Cassandra?
Yeah. Cass has been with the mining club for like over 20 years. She's like everything that happens by Cass.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
she's a gun.
Yeah, I spoke to her on the phone. She sounds lovely. I was invited to the new members lunch. I was up visiting a client.
Yeah, the morning tea.
Yeah, the morning tea. Sorry, the morning tea, and she said it'd be really good if you can come along. And I said, look, I'm going to be away, but you're only allowed to turn up for that first morning tea when you first sign up. Yeah, can I come to one of those?
Yeah,
I wasn't able to go to the last one, mate.
Absolutely, I'll get you along to one of those. And look, I think it's a fantastic. Well, I got that going probably 18 months ago. It's a bit more than 18 months ago.
True.
And if you've been to one of these, you know you've heard this story before. But if you've gone to a luncheon like last May 29th, we had I think 520 people there.
I think that's when I went. Is that the Jazz Diab?
No, this was. That was a Dave Borshoff one, the BCI Minerals.
No, that was the most recent one.
Yeah, the most recent one. Yeah. We have one a month. Josh.
Yeah.
So we, you could imagine if you're not an introvert or you're not a full-on extrovert, walking into a room with 500 people there could be a bit daunting. So what we do, we started this morning tea for new members, and so new members can meet other new members, and you've got a friendly face. We do a bit of a chat, say what the club's about, what my role is within the memberships side. And then we go around the table and people tell their story in 2 or 3 minutes, and then the next half hour we get people mingling. So by the time you go to your next luncheon, you know people. So we call it like our soft launch to the mining club, and I think that's why the club is growing at such a rapid rate. We sort of take care and we take pride in what we do, and we actually look after our members.
Christy from WA Mobilisation, she's I think a relatively new member as well. She said, "Josh, you need to get in there. It's bloody awesome."
Yeah, it truly is. It's a look. We host an amazing lunch, and the lunch we do it at Optus Stadium in the Riverview Room, which is looking out over the Swan River. I mean, it's magic. It's magic.
Yeah, it's magic. The food was great.
The food is great. We have the speakers are always top notch. Coming up at the end of June, for our June luncheon, we have Amanda Lacaze. Amanda is the MD of Linus Rare Earths, and I think it's timely. We've tried to get Amanda for the past year, but due to scheduling, it's only been possible now, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, awesome. With your current role in the WA Mining Club, what do you think plays a key role in the broader resources community?
Yeah, good question. And if you only knew of the Mining Club from lunches and the events we put on, our Miners Mingle, which is for our YP community, joined by our EP, experienced professional community, we do events really well. I mean, no one comes away from those lunches saying, "Oh, that wasn't worth it." I mean, the keynotes are always fantastic. We do a lot of research into the speakers. And making sure they're going to be the right people. But that's all what I call, not in a bad way, but I call that the gloss of the mining club. You see all the beautiful stuff. What we're doing behind the scenes is truly amazing. And I believe you're going to be speaking with Barry Upton in the coming weeks, so I'm not going to destroy any of his content. Yeah. But we are doing a lot of, what Barry's doing and his helpers, Rob Humphreys, are doing in the education engagement committee is just, I reckon, probably bordering on the most important thing that the mining club are doing.
Cool.
I mean, our young kids are the future, and we're not seeing enough of them come through into mining. And I think everyone recognises it's not a good thing, but the mining club is actually changing that, and we're getting out there and we're doing amazing things.
And I had Tony Tang on the. He's a professor at was a professor at Curtin University. He's finished up there now. Had him on the show. He is just an absolute stellar bloke. Super knowledgeable, amazing. I don't know if you've ever had the chance to talk to him.
No.
Far out, super smart, Dimitri. He's super smart. But then again, I'm not very smart, so everyone seems smarter than me.
I said the same thing.
So, but he said the same thing. He actually invited me up to the Kalgoorlie graduation for Curtin graduation ceremony.
Oh, cool.
And it was myself and another bloke turned up, and it was amazing. And but everyone said the same thing. We're not putting enough emphasis into even at a high school level. It needs to start earlier and earlier and earlier. That we're educating young children into what we actually do here. They wouldn't have an iPad. They wouldn't have a phone. They wouldn't have anything without the mining industry. And it all starts here. You know, it starts here in Australia. Yeah, there's some other shit.
It starts at a young age. We need to tell our kids that where this glass comes from.
That's exactly right.
Where our mobile phones come from, and it's where this microphone comes from. But I'm now also on the YP, our Young Professionals Subcommittee. So I'm going to be supporting the team in there, and I think that's where I'm going to be able to do some really good work. I mean, look, I'm not that young now. Like I'm 45, so I don't.
Mate, lucky. How about the hair colour on the bloke? I'm 41 and I look 75. I look in the mirror, someone else, I just think, what's happened in your life, mate? You've ruined it.
It must be that Italian blood.
Non-Italian blood.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to helping those, having a part of that YP committee and guiding wherever I can. The mining club has actually got it, which now comes under my division, our emerging leaders sort of department. So that's where we pair mentors with mentees. We've got quite a lot of people in the group, and getting a young kid in front of an experienced professional to share his or her stories can be so rewarding and helpful for a young kid just starting out in his or her career.
Yeah, most definitely.
And I actually, look, I'm just me, but I actually put my hand up. I said, look, because we did have a lot of mentees this year and we needed some more mentors. And I put my hand up, said, look, if there's any young kids that need help in sort of networking, in BD, and in just general finding a way around sort of the industry, I'm happy to put my hand up. So I've actually now got 2 mentees, and it's actually pretty rewarding. Awesome. Look, I'm just there to have a chat, to share what knowledge I've got. And it's actually really rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
So, like, if any of your listeners wants to get involved, we do need some more mentors. Yep. And it's something you can do for nothing. It's sharing knowledge is a good thing.
We'll put the WA Mining Club information in the show notes.
Great, thank you.
We'll also put we'll put your wife's family business in the show notes. So if anyone needs any hair ties, hopefully there's some bloody mining companies that go, you know what, we're going to get them behind that.
Yeah, good.
Mate, last question. When it's all said and done, what do you want your legacy to be in the mining industry?
Yeah, I saw you had added this question on, and look, I haven't really thought about it, but look, I think you always do think, where do I want to finish up? You want your kids to be good. You want your kids to have a great start in life. And in terms of my work, look, I had a chat with Cass Brennan on the way over here, on not to talk about the podcast, but to talk about some other matters, and I think it's super important. Like as a committee member. I think it's super important that we, as a committee, even go to the life member lunches. Our life members of the committee, they've done their work. They've put their effort into the mining club to help grow this club, to make the industry a better place to be in. And the least we can do is go there and have lunch with them. And I really enjoy it, chatting with these. Not all old, but they're. I'd
enjoy that.
They're good. Look, have a drink and have a good bite to eat and talk with these guys about how their time in the club was and what did they do for work and how work was different from them. And it's like, in a way, sort of mentorship for me.
Yeah, when I head out to mining company to see some of our mining clients, I always beeline for try and find the oldest bloke in the crib room and say, mate, tell me your story. Where did you start? What sites have you been on? You know, where are you from? Have you lived here for how long? I that's something that I do wherever I go.
Yeah.
Love a yarn.
It's good. And look, there's not too many people out there that won't want to share their story. So as a young kid, the best thing you do is talk to someone a bit older, someone with experience, and get their story, or even like part of their story. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Well, Tim, mate, thank you very much for coming in and spending the time with us. I know that I've learnt a hell of a lot once again, but the information that you've been able to pass on today, I think, is amazing to be able to give out to anyone watching or anyone wanting to be involved in the mining industry, and certainly people that want to be involved with the WA Mining Club.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Josh. Thanks for having me here. It's been great.
Not a problem, mate.
Cheers,
awesome.
Mate.
Well, everyone, thank you very much for tuning into another episode of The Gold Room. Hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Gold Room channel. Tim, I hope you have.
I sure have.
Beautiful. All right, guys, thank you.